In restaurant talk, back of the house is the kitchen area where the chefs use their skills and talents to bring their creations to the waiting diners. Each week, we visit a restaurant and go to the back of the house to meet some of the talented people that are a part of our Lake County community. Our host is Valerie Hart, who for 35 years has been a food writer, restaurant critic, culinary teacher, and cookbook author. Let's join her now as we enter the wonderful world of creativity in the kitchens of Lake County to explore the back of the house.
We are about to embark on a unique and educational adventure that few people will ever have the advantage of being close to or seeing from the inside. This is Monterey mushrooms, and we are technically in Zellwood, directly south of Mount Dora. And I am with the General Manager, I keep saying director, and it's General Manager Brian Hess.
That's correct.
And I'm very happy to be here, and you're very nice to allow us to come in.
Well, thank you very much. We're happy to have you here today. Monterey Mushrooms has just celebrated, in fact, our 40th anniversary this year. The company originally started in California. Our corporate offices are located in Watsonville, California. And this location, Monterey purchased this location in the late 90s and has been under the Monterey name ever since.
You're the largest mushroom factory in the country, aren't you?
That's correct.
Okay. And how many acres actually are you on?
We have approximately 80 acres here at this location.
And the inside building, which is huge,
is approximately 200,000 square feet under roof.
Well, it's a wonderful place, and we're about to have a marvelously exciting time going through this facility. I personally have never seen anything like it. So will you take me?
Several of us will be happy to take you through the tour. I think you'll find it very informative.
Love it. In order to enter any area of the Monterey Mushroom Factory, one is obligated to wear a hairnet. Even the security guards wear hairnets, and all of the 300 workers are wearing hairnets, and many of them are wearing gloves in this incredibly sanitary facility. And I'm here with Leslie Block, and you are sales manager of this enormous place. And we're in the arena where the compost begins and where the whole process begins. Please run me through this and tell me what I'm looking at.
This is indeed the first step of the process, and what we're doing out here is we're taking stable bedding and wheat straw, and we're combining those two, about a 50-50 blend, and we're starting to make compost. And the compost is the food source for the amoebas that we're hoping to bring. And what we do is we add some supplements. Most of the wheat straw that we have here comes from North Florida, South Georgia. The stable bedding is coming from, we like to get as local as possible. So usually Ocala, certain times of the year, we pull from Gulfstream Racetrack down south. We take that and we add the different nutrients to that. So you'd have gypsum, some cottonseed meal, urea, some dry poultry waste. Again, just trying to get the process going, break it down, making the compost.
And then what is all the water? I see that there's an enormous amount of water over there.
We are a zero discharge facility, and so we've got water that is being used every other day. We work through the compost. There's a lot of heat that's generated as we are making the compost, and so one of our jobs that we do every other day here is we take big turners and we actually pick up the compost, turn it, incorporate air, at the same time it's spraying water into the compost.
Right, now it must take an enormous amount of water from here.
It does, and we've got two big water ponds out back that hold about 4 million gallons of water. Zero discharge facility, everything is recycled, reclaimed,
it's
and
all
reused.
Reclaimed.
Yep.
So you are environmentally friendly out here.
Yes, we are, definitely.
Very exciting. Okay, and then afterward, now what goes on after it has been?
So we're basically out here making the compost for about 3 weeks. Then we take the compost and we fill it into trays. Each tray is then brought into the building, and we go through what's called the pasteurization phase.
Meaning?
And in this phase, what we're doing is we're pasteurizing the compost so that we're killing any of the harmful bad bacteria without killing the good amoebas that we're wanting.
But does that mean that when I buy a mushroom at the grocery store that I don't actually have to wash it because it's been pasteurized?
That's correct.
Really?
Yep. If you feel more comfortable doing it, by all means do it, but you don't have to do it.
Very interesting. Before we go inside, and I forget to tell people that this is the largest facility in the country, or the largest growers in the country between here and California.
We're the largest national marketer of mushrooms, yes.
And how many mushrooms, and we'll see them all later, how many mushrooms actually come out of this facility every day?
Out of this facility every day, you've got about 50,000 pounds of white mushrooms, and you've got about 15,000 pounds of the brown mushrooms.
Mind-boggling. Let's go inside.
Okay.
Okay, Leslie, I'm standing in a puddle of water. It's freezing cold in here. This is your growing room. Please, after what seems like miles of marching, tell me where we have been. What led to this?
Okay, so we were outside the facility, and we basically took what we had made into the compost inside the facility. Once it's brought into the facility, that's when we brought it through the pasteurization process. In the pasteurization process, what we do is we take the trays of compost, we put them all into a room, we take that room, we increase the temperature to about 140, 150 degrees.
That's why you wouldn't let me in.
Right. So we increase the temperature to that high, about 140, 150, for about a couple hours. And all we're trying to achieve is that we are trying to pasteurize the compost, keep the bad bacteria out of the farm, keep the good amoebas, compost, good stuff in the trays. So after we reach the temperatures for a couple hours, we slowly start to drop the temperature over the course of about 5 days. That completes the pasteurization.
Down to what degree of temperature?
By the time it's completed on the pasteurization phase, each tray is probably around 85, 90 degrees.
Like a nice day in Florida.
Exactly.
All right, and then what?
Then, once it comes out of the pasteurization rooms, we'll take those trays, we dump out the pasteurized compost, and that's where we start incorporating the spawn into the compost. And how we do that is we pull spawn from our sister facility in Texas. The spawn is a powder, but in order for us to transfer that into the crop, what we do is we take sterilized millet seed and we blow the spawn onto the millet seed. So it makes it more convenient for us to layer that into the tray. So the pasteurized compost is then mixed in with the spawn, and then it is put into what we call a spawn run room. The spawn run room is usually, it's in there for about 15 days, and the whole goal is really to get the mycelium to propagate through the tray, up, down, side to side, very evenly.
It's mind-boggling. It's just too much to comprehend.
It's a very involved process.
And
yes.
Then what?
So once we feel that everything is where it needs to be, we then take the trays out of the spawn run room. We bring them back out. That's when we'll put on the casing layer. So it's kind of like making a cake and then you're going to ice it. So we bring the trays back out. We check. We have a quality control check that makes sure that the mycelium is how we want it on every single tray.
What's with the man with the pitchfork?
That would be the quality control check.
I see.
So what he's doing...
I couldn't understand why he didn't turn over the soil. He just digs it in.
He's taking a pitchfork, he's going down to the bottom of the tray, lifting it up, making sure that that mycelium is thoroughly through that tray.
Amazing.
Then the casing layer is basically a little bit of peat moss that's laid on top. And once that layer of peat moss is laid on top, that's when we start to sit back and prepare it to grow mushrooms.
And here we are.
Well, not quite yet.
Oh, okay.
So we put the casing layer on, but then we still are not finished with the process, because in order to get those mushrooms to grow, we have to scare them into thinking that they're going to die first. We have to kind of
Poor things.
we shock the beds, exactly.
Was that freezing cold room?
So what we do is it's about 5 days basically for the mycelium to grow up into the casing layer, but then what we're doing is we're taking the rooms and we're dropping the temperature to about 65 degrees.
Okay.
And then what that does is
Seems freezing after where we've
sends
been.
it into a trauma state, and the mycelium basically twists, and where the mycelium twists in there is where you get a pin, a mushroom pin, to start poking up through that casing layer.
Okay, and now?
And so,
The little babies.
after it has done its magic in our setback rooms, then we transfer them into a harvesting room. This is an example of what a recently transferred tray would look like from a setback room. And so everywhere you see these white little heads, those are little mini mushrooms.
How many mushrooms will this tray actually produce?
Well, we measure everything in square foot. And so our goal is to get 7 pounds of mushrooms to grow over the course of about a month is what
Now,
it takes to grow.
and you leave these in here now how long?
This tray will stay in this room for about a month.
Oh.
They'll harvest every day. Mushrooms double in size every 24 hours. So you can understand it's a constant, very dynamic business. And they'll harvest off of this 3 different breaks and get 7 pounds per square foot.
Well, and it's interesting that some are coming up faster than others.
Yep. That's the idea, is that as a harvester, you're wanting to maximize your yield by picking the correct size when we need it, not letting it get too big and crowding out the other ones.
Then from here, where do we go?
Well, from here, I think I'd like to show you a harvesting room where they're actually harvesting products.
Okay.
All right, let's go.
We have finally reached what you call your packing area, but actually, coming from your harvesting room, what has gone on that's different that Monterey Mushrooms does that's totally unique as far as packing?
Well, in the harvesting rooms, we first noticed that everything is hand harvested. There's no mechanics involved at it at all. So a lot of labor intensive work. We also do something a little bit different at this farm. We have a direct pick process. What the direct pick process does is it allows us to harvest mushrooms off the bed specifically for each customer, whether it's going to a restaurant or whether it's going into a retail store. Restaurants typically pull in bulk boxes, and so all the product is then harvested and directly placed into the box. And same with the retail, the little tills. The mushrooms are harvested off the beds and placed into the till. We believe that this gives a better quality to the customer. There's less bruising involved and less handling involved to the mushrooms.
Well, what's going on behind us, this assembly line here, this conveyor belt?
So once the mushrooms come from the harvesting rooms, one of the first things that we have to do before we can start packing them and processing them is we want to maintain the cold chain. Cold chain is very important to extending the life of your mushrooms. Because mushrooms are so perishable, what we do is we put them in a vacuum cooler that's going to drop the temperature to about 35, 36 degrees. And then our goal is, once that's dropped down to that temperature, is to maintain that temperature all the way through the shipping process.
Amazing. And I'm seeing them while they're packing, they're also tossing out. They have been trained so that they actually, their eyes grab the bad ones and turn them upside down. And
we also have computerized scales that make sure that everything that was hand harvested and packed into the tills in the harvesting room, that it's accurate for weight.
I tell you, the enormity, the intricacy, the knowledge that is in this growing of mushrooms is, give me a word for it.
Mind-blowing.
It's mind-blowing. There's a chemistry about it. There's a knowledge about it. And each phase is perfect. There's no room for failure. There's no room for excuses that a mushroom does not come out absolutely perfect. Now you hope that the grocery stores and that the restaurants handle them properly
Exactly.
once they get them.
Exactly. It's very dynamic. Everything is harvested the day that it's shipped. So a mushroom can be picked, packed, and shipped out within a 6-hour period. This farm services anywhere in Florida and a little bit of South Georgia. So it's a very dynamic, action-packed process.
Oh my goodness. Now I'd like to talk a little bit about the portobello mushrooms and about your baby bellas, which the chefs still call crimini.
Right.
Crimini. I
Right.
said crimini for many years, and it's the crimini family in Italy, isn't it?
Correct, correct.
But you also explained to me that your portobello mushroom was developed by Monterey. Tell
Correct.
me.
We have a research and development arm of Monterey Mushroom, and they spent many, many years developing an heirloom strain portobello. And the heirloom strain portobello is actually used by 80% of the world as far as mushroom producers. It's a very dense mushroom. One of the characteristics is it has a very rounded cap, which again helps in protecting the shelf life of that product.
And it's a meaty mushroom. For vegetarians, you don't have to eat meat. You can take that portobello and make it in so many different ways that it takes the place of a hamburger or a steak or a fried chicken. It's the most versatile mushroom I have ever known.
And it leaves you feeling full.
And it leaves you feeling very full.
Yes.
And now I want to ask you about this new process that you're doing because as we know, mushrooms have an enormous amount of vitamin D naturally, but you have gone one step further.
Correct. Our research and development department, again, to the rescue. Mushrooms are the only produce item with a natural source of vitamin D. And what we do now is we're exposing the mushrooms to a UVB light. And just in a short period of time, what that UVB light is doing is it's accelerating the vitamin D that's already in the mushroom. It's accelerating it to really be over 100% of what you need for a daily allowance.
So if I eat how many ounces of mushrooms will I get my 400 milligrams of vitamin D allowance?
A small portion, about 3 ounces, is all you need.
Really?
Yep, about 3 ounces is all you need. And the importance of vitamin D, again, is really comes down to calcium absorption and bone density. And just like your skin is a membrane that you go out in the sun and get vitamin D, that's what we're doing by exposing it to the UVB light.
All right, Leslie, Brian just handed me your 3 varieties of mushrooms here. You're holding, well, crimini baby bella.
Correct.
All right, and I'm holding the monster portobellos.
Correct.
What is a portobello actually just a crimini mushroom gone overboard?
It's basically the adult version of the baby bella or crimini. This is an immature mushroom. We market them as baby bellas, criminis if you're in the restaurant world. And as this matures, it's going to get larger and it's going to be a portobello. There's about...
Right, it takes how many days for it to become a baby bella?
Baby bella, you're looking at about 4 days and then a couple more days until it grows into a portobello.
So just a couple of more days?
Just a couple more days. Remember, mushrooms double in size every 24 hours.
Amazing. And our white, I used to call these the American white. What do you call them?
Agaricus mushroom or the white mushroom.
Okay, and so it would take the same length of time to grow these as to grow your baby bellas?
Correct.
Okay. These mushrooms are wonderful for stuffing.
Correct.
When they're very fresh, I'll eat them raw.
Right?
But they've told me not to eat portobellos raw, that they must be cooked.
I prefer them cooked. I think the flavor is a little bit better when you cook them. That's just my personal opinion.
And with the white mushrooms, you can either cook them a little bit, put them in salads, or really cook them brown and give them a crispy feel. But with these, they must not be cooked for a long time, or else the flavor and the consistency turns rubbery. there is a certain point where you have to just cook them quickly, not too long, or else they don't have the consistency.
They're kind of like spaghetti. You want them a little al dente.
Al dente, that's good. But the baby bellas, are they more along cooking it like this?
The baby bellas I would treat similar to how you would treat a white mushroom.
Okay.
The baby bella it is a little bit deeper mushroom flavor than the white mushroom.
Yes, it is. It gives more substance to gravies.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a little denser mushroom, as we talked about, with the heirloom variety strain. And you'll see that more and more people are trying the cremini mushroom because of the flavor.
Yes.
So
I'm going to hand you this, and I'm
okay.
going to show you something that, oh, look at this. They're so fresh that you don't have to do this to put this on top. Now, by the time we get them in the grocery store, this light brown has turned black.
It's fully matured, right.
And because it's been in the grocery store 24 hours. And what I do is I remove what we call the gills with a spoon. And also the stem, because although I will eat the stem of the white mushroom, I won't eat the stem of this.
It's a little bit more fibrous.
Yes, but this is too fibrous. I remove it.
And you can still utilize that though. I would chop that up and to put it in a little gravy or spaghetti sauce.
Yes. Yes.
100% usable product on a mushroom. Nothing goes to waste.
All right, we'll put these down. I suppose now that I've touched them, everything is so sanitary here.
Right.
But I'll have to keep them.
You'll have to keep them.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, Brian, we're back where we started from. And right at the front gate, where this is my favorite place, it's the only place I'm allowed to come close enough to the factory, where I can buy mushrooms at the little guardhouse. And I can also get compost.
That's correct. The public is welcome to stop at the guardhouse. We have the small bags for sale, $2 a bag.
These are $2 a bag.
That's correct.
And I'm holding the American white, and you're holding the cremini.
That's correct.
Okay.
And we also have our spent compost, which the local gardeners just love to use in their gardens. And every pickup truck load is only $15 a pickup truck.
Really?
So we have those available throughout different days of the week.
And why do you sell the compost?
Again, to be earth friendly. We're a zero discharge facility, and that just helps us also service the community where they have some excellent source of composting for their gardens, plants, etc.
It's a wonderful amenity for those of us who live here and have our gardens and love them. This has been such a wonderful experience. I have to tell you, I'm exhausted. I don't know how you people run around this place every day. It is so enormous and it is so exciting, and I thank you for letting us come in, inviting us into your little home, Monterey Mushrooms.
Thank you for coming.